Hey y'all, I wanted to show y'all how I put together this Christmas wreath. I'm starting with a 30-inch evergreen wreath. I picked it up from Hobby Lobby, and I am just fluffing out all the branches just like you would a Christmas tree. You might want to wear gloves for this part, like gardening gloves, because the branches are kind of prickly and they'll scratch your hands up. So I just go through and fluff up all the branches until they're all fluffed, good and fluffed. And see, I was scratching my hand because I got poked a few times right there. So get them all good and fluffed, and then we'll get started on the next step. All right, next I'm going to be adding some 21-inch Deco Mesh. I'm just gonna scrunch up the end and just twist each section onto the wreath. You can just use the branches. That's the good thing about these wreaths, is you can use the branches to help secure everything to the wreath. And what I like to do is I kind of just drag my hand across the Deco Mesh, and I usually count to 3, and that usually gives me about a 12-inch poof. And that's just kind of the method I like to use. Instead of measuring out 12 inches each time, I'll just drag my hand just like I just did there and kind of eyeball it, you know, just to make sure each poof looks uniformed. And that's what I'm doing here. I am going to stop right here and cut off the Deco Mesh and leave like a little opening to add my bow. Make sure when you cut off your end that you kind of tuck it in to where it's not showing like the frayed up area. Make sure it's tucked down below so that part's not showing. Next I'm going to start on my bow, and I usually like to use a variety of bow or ribbons, just to give the bow a little more oomph, I guess. So these are the ribbons I'm using. You can use any size you want. These are just some that I picked up actually from TJ Maxx. So how I like to make my bows is I usually start with a 6-inch tail, and remember to dovetail each of your ribbon ends, and then I measure a 12-inch loop and I'll do 2 loops, both of them at 12 inches, and then another 6-inch tail, and then for my next ribbon layer I will go down to, I'll still do a 6-inch tail, but I'll drop down to an 11-inch loop just to give my bow like levels, and so you can see each ribbon. So that's just kind of the way I like to do it, and you can do as many loops as you want. I just was sticking with 2 for this one because the ribbon was pretty big. So like I was saying, this ribbon, I will do another 6-inch tail. The tails I'm not too worried about. As far as sizes, I kind of just eyeball them, but the loops I try and be a little more uniformed. So this level of the bow, I'm gonna do an 11-inch loop for both sides of this bow. And then I just keep going down an inch each level of the bow. So the next ribbon that's coming up, it's like that candy cane, that red and white one that I just picked up. That one will be a 10-inch loop. And then that last ribbon will be a 9-inch. So just depending on how many ribbons you're gonna use, I just like to start at 12 inches and then go down an inch from there, each ribbon I use. Okay, so then once you get all of your ribbons folded the way you want them for your bow, I pick up my bow and hold it really tight in the middle, and I just use a chenille stem and kind of bend it in half and twist it right down the middle. And it tightens up really tight if you twist the bow instead of the chenille stem. And then we're just gonna add it to the wreath where we left that opening. And I just push the chenille stems through the wreath, the wire part, and I kind of like split the wire so that I can twist the bow and attach it onto the wreath just to make sure it's really secure. And then you just go through and fluff your bow, make sure it looks the way you want it to, nice and fluffy. And make sure it's tied down real good. And then I'm gonna add this little Santa. I picked him up from Hobby Lobby, and he's pretty heavy, so I am going to use a large stapler to attach chenille stems to the back of him. If you don't have a big stapler, you can use like industrial hot glue. I just felt more secure with this big stapler because, like I said, he was pretty heavy. So I'm just gonna staple these down and then attach him to the wreath as well, just like I did the bow. right, the last thing I'm gonna do is add these little berries to the wreath, and what I like to do is just kind of stick them in where I think they should go before I glue anything down, just to make sure everything looks good before, like I said, before I glue anything. And all I do with these is stick them in, and then once I have everything placed where I think it looks good, I just go back and hot glue each one. And I do use an industrial hot glue gun, just because the wreaths are outside and I don't want anything falling off. I live in Texas, so it gets kind of hot here, so I don't want anything melting, or anyways, I just use that industrial hot glue gun to make sure everything's good and secure. One more quick thing I was going to mention, the way I glue these down is I just hot glue the stems and then stick them into the wreath. So that's it. Here's the finished product. Thank y'all so much for watching, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe and like this video.